Hey pillars, and welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be explaining how I went from unfit to the fittest I've ever been in my cycling career, and then going to the unfittest I've ever been in my cycling career, all within a year or so. So I hope you find value in this video, and I hope it serves a lot of riders watching, because if you are in a situation like this, then I hope you find value and some information in this video. And then at the end of the video, I'll tell you my plan and what have I been doing to get back to that shape that I previously was. So let's jump right into this video. So on my channel, I've already made previous videos about weight loss and my cycling journey in terms of going from unfit to the fittest I've ever been. And in 2019, this is when my journey to being the fittest cyclist ever started. So I was around 220 pounds, which is about 100 kilograms. And the driving force of me losing weight in 2019 was I went to a bike race where professional cyclists were, and I rode with them, and I just got really inspired. And I said, you know, if they can look like that and perform like that, then why can't I? Obviously, I'm not saying I wanted to be a pro cyclist, but I wanted to be in peak physical form that I thought was the best that I was able to achieve, because I always believe you shouldn't really compare or try to be like others, but more so take the pros that you see from others and try to implement it to what your expectation is for your peak ability. So that's what I really took from that experience, and I started in 2019 to get the fittest I've ever been on the bike. Now that cycling weight loss journey slash fitness journey took around 7 to 8 months. I lost all the weight and I was in the best shape of my cycling career. Now in other weight loss videos, I've obviously been fitter at different ages, and it all revolves usually around goals and my intentions in terms of what am I trying to achieve. I've realized when it comes to fitness and weight loss, I really do perform my best when I am looking forward to something or trying to achieve something rather than just maintaining it. And I think a lot of that revolves around the fact that when I did live in Toronto, Canada, the winter time does play a big role, at least in my opinion, in how I operate as an athlete in terms of maintaining my fitness. So it's obviously a lot easier to look for goals when it's sunny rather than goals when, you know, it's winter time and you're usually indoors. So I always knew in the back of my head, even when I started cycling, which was around 15, 16 years old, that eventually I would want to move to warm country. That weight loss journey in 2020, where I basically lost all the weight, was primarily driven because I wanted to race road and I wanted to race gravel. Now, unfortunately, in 2020, as everyone watching this knows, the world had other plans, and you know, unfortunately, I couldn't race at all. There was no goals, and I just was in incredible shape and form, but I had nothing to really look forward to or to actually actualize any goals through that shape. And unfortunately, well, fortunately, unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, I just made a lot of content, cycling content in 2020, and it was a really interesting year because I got to the fittest I've ever been on the bike. I was as strong as ever been, but I was just making content when in reality, I just wanted to primarily race. So 2020 was an interesting year. Now, in terms of how I felt on the bike, I was in the leanest shape I've ever been. So I was around 150 pounds, 68, 69 kilograms. And I was hovering around there, and I just felt so good on the bike. Now, there's unfortunately not a lot of, you know, big climbs in Toronto, Canada, so I couldn't really test, you know, the true power to weight ratio, but all I can say is that climbs that used to feel like I was climbing Mont Ventoux felt as if it was a small roller, and when I would go on group rides, you know, just relatively easy. Just, I don't want to sound cocky or too confident, but just being in that such shape and having that power to weight ratio, my FTP was around, you know, 340, 350. So very, very high FTP for the weight. You know, comparatively, I'm not saying I'm a pro cyclist at this shape or time, but just compared to what I was the season before to this season, 2020, just ludicrous in terms of my power numbers and what I'm used to. So cycling became a lot more enjoyable, and I don't want to trigger anyone and say, you know, just because you might be a heavier rider, you know, your time on the bike is going to be less enjoyable than someone that's leaner. But having been both, I can honestly say, in my opinion, I like being leaner because just what would tire me out sooner, being heavier, didn't when I was leaner, so I could ride longer, feel more enjoyable on the bike, and just overall, whether that was indoors or outdoors, biking just felt a lot better. So, you know, that I'll never debate which form I like more, and you can see myself on the bike just very fluid on the trainer as well. I don't really have a lot of clips of me cycling outside, but when I did have the ability to film myself, looking back, I can just see how streamlined I was in terms of my training, in terms of my physique, in terms of my power. Just very, very disciplined also. Now in September 2020, I officially booked a surgery that was for my right leg, which is long overdue, and winter was approaching, which sucks in Toronto, Canada. So there was nothing, and I mean nothing to look forward to in terms of training. I basically was in this shape, and like I said, I just made a lot of content. So when the surgery officially got booked, I really think I just had no ambition at that point to even ride my bike, just because in the back of my head, I was like, I'm gonna have to be on the trainer again. And if you've watched the old weight loss videos, the way I got into this shape was primarily I just used all of winter to ride indoors, thinking that I would race outside in the 2020 season. So basically when September 2020 rolled around, I just didn't want to be indoors 2-3 hours a day just riding on my trainer. So basically, I just didn't train at all. I really let my nutrition slip. And by the time 2021 rolled around, I was basically hovering around 240 pounds, which is 108 kilograms, which basically means I gained almost 90 pounds worth of weight. So, not what I wanted to happen. The surgery went okay, so that's positive, but I was not in the mindset where I actually realized what I was doing in terms of neglecting my fitness, neglecting my nutrition. And over the course from September to basically, around April, I just let myself completely go. And I know a lot of you watching might be in that situation or might be in that situation in the future. And if you can catch those early signs, it's a lot easier to recorrect it during the process than doing what I am doing now and trying to recorrect it after the fact. So that's why I want this video to serve as kind of have an alarm that if you start seeing yourself, either gaining weight or losing fitness, it's something that you should actually take a lot of attention to and try to recorrect rather than dealing with the consequences when it's a little bit too late. Now, with that being said, I did realize after the fact, after I healed from my surgery, I realized that I did not want to live in a cold country anymore. I had no ambition of having excuses because at the end of the day, I always want everyone watching to know that at the end of the day, you are responsible for your decisions. I'm not trying to blame Canada and say, it was so cold, I couldn't ride. Well, no, actually, I got shredded the first time from riding indoor on the trainer. I could do it again. I could do it 6 times. I could do it 10 times. It doesn't matter. But what I realized was that why would I make it harder on myself when I can make it easier on myself? And then again, moving from your home country is not an easy thing to do. So in 2021, I decided I want to live somewhere warm. And at the time, because of how the world was, a lot of countries were closed. So I decided on the country of Georgia because at that time, Turkey wasn't open. And I wanted to move to Turkey primarily because it was very warm. Along the coast, there's a lot of cities that are warm all year long. And, relative to Canada, it's going to be a lot easier to ride, even if it's 15, 16 degrees in Canada, that feels basically like springtime. So I was very ambitious saying that, if I move to a warmer country, not only will I get back to my old shape, but I'll be able to maintain it. And on top of that, also because, I make content for cycling, it'll be a lot easier to make content as well throughout the whole year. So I had high hopes, and moving abroad is a lot of work. So, it's not as easy as you think. There's a lot of rules and specific things you got to figure out and adjust to. So that's what I decided to do. In April 2021, I moved to Georgia. Now in Georgia, I was able to train with the national team, even though I weighed the heaviest I've ever been and I was out of the shape compared to all my other previous cycling seasons. And basically, I never was able to really start my transformation, my true cycling transformation, just because of other life responsibilities, which made it extremely hard. And yet again, I'm always going to take ownership. That is on me. That's not because I moved. That's not because I'm adapting to, a new culture or like new environment. I take responsibility. It wasn't a top priority at the time. Like I said, other life responsibilities. However, I did start losing weight because I just started making slight changes towards my nutrition. And obviously I was on the bike a lot more, riding with the national team. And I'll give those riders in Georgia props because they were very warm and welcoming. So even though I was heavy, you can see on screen right now, I have myself riding with the national team. I was able to keep up. Obviously, if they were going full gas, I would get dropped, but it was still very enjoyable and very solid training at the time. Now, when I really realized that I should, increase my cycling, it was when I went to a water park in Georgia and the lifeguard was having a hard time pushing me down one of the slides. And I just knew at that time, granted I'm 6'2", so even though 240s on the heavier set, it wasn't, in my opinion, extremely, overweight or unfit, but, it wasn't looking good. So I'm just going to say, comparing it's hard to make videos like this. A lot of times when I watch videos on YouTube where, fit cyclists or even just fit people in general try to, relate to people that are on their weight loss journey or fitness journey, it's very hard because they haven't experienced one or the other. So for me, I have experienced being, shredded and then being like this weight. So I really do feel like I can give an honest opinion on both, and I want to say that these are my opinions. I don't want anyone to feel judged or get triggered that I'm passing judgment. I'm just saying for myself, I realize just for overall quality of life, being that weight compared to the weight that I am now, obviously I've lost weight, but your knees don't feel as good. You don't feel as motivated to ride or to train. Just overall, just even walking long distances gets very tiring. So, I knew at this point in time, I had to start making some active changes. And that's when I started riding a lot more. So you can see in this picture, this was near August 2021. So basically a year ago, I lost some weight from there. The main thing I just kept telling myself was, put on the jersey, get outside, get on the bike and ride. And one thing I want to know about Georgia and this part of the world that I am in, there's a lot of climbing, a lot of mountains, very different from the riding back in Canada. So, at least in Toronto, Canada. So, I didn't make excuses. It was very hard, but I made it work. And it was obviously a lot of fun because these are memories I'll always remember. First time riding at elevation. So very, very fun. Now at the beginning of 2022, I finally decided to move to the country of Turkey. And that is the city Antalya, which is a Mediterranean city that has amazing weather all year long. And I knew that living there would eventually allow me to achieve my goal and maintain it. And that's one thing I really want to note in this video is that, just because I was able to get shredded, that's an accomplishment within itself. But I find the true accomplishment is when you can actually maintain that and you do have a lifestyle that incorporates that. And that's not to say that you can't do it in a cold country or cold climate. Obviously you can. I did it, but for me, it's more so maintaining it. And what I found works for me is that, if I'm going to live in a cold climate, then I need goals. I need races. I need things to look forward to. I need to know what I'm training for. But if you live somewhere warm, where, training is just as easy as walking outside and you get to the beach, like it is for me now living in Turkey, then, going to the beach is not a hard thing. Getting on your bike is not a hard thing because the weather is beautiful all year long. You don't have to put on 2 layers. You don't have to check the weather if it's raining. I haven't experienced rain for more than 5-6 months. I think it's rained once for like 20 minutes. So for me, that really does work and encourages me to ride. So basically, I started my official journey for weight loss back in May 2022, May 1st actually, and I weighed 242 pounds, and that's 110 kilograms. Now at the end of August, which is right now when I'm filming this video, in 4 months, I've lost 34 pounds or 15.5 kilograms. So I'm hovering around 206-ish, 208, 94 kilograms. So I feel a lot better. One thing I just want to note is a lot of my riding has just been indoors. You can see on screen right now, I have Antalya, basically the city that I live in. It's right beside the beach, very beautiful. You have gorgeous mountains that I will be riding in, and I want to ride indoors just because I learned from Georgia, you'll get destroyed, especially if you're carrying more weight to ride in these mountains. I know there's flatter routes, but just for time efficiency and other stuff that I'm doing in my personal life, riding in the trainer really works for me. And it was really hot too, which is something you just gotta get used to. So I will be riding outside, I think later near the end of this year, but the trainer just works really well for me for time efficiency. And now losing 34 pounds in 2 months, this is where I'm just going to ramble, and you can see myself. This is basically like day one of the journey. You can see it's very different from, shredded peddler on the bike, but I have my notes on screen right now. I just want to say, like I said before, just even losing a little bit of weight compared to now 36 pounds, your knees are going to feel better. My quality of life is better. I want to walk more. I want to do more stuff. Obviously, confidence is going to increase, more motivated, more happier. You wake up excited to ride. You wake up excited to tackle the day, just because you're not walking with all this extra stuff. And I think not only is it a physical thing, but it is a mental thing as well. So I personally find it very joyful that I've been able to really start this journey. I'm 4 months in. Last time it took me 7 to 8 months. So I'm only halfway through right now. And I want everyone that's watching this, that finds value, that wants to be a part of my journey, to actually subscribe, like this video, comment. Are you on your journey? What are you doing? What plans do you have? Like, are you going to start your own journey? How is your journey, progressing? If you're on a journey, I would like to hear everyone, because I want to always build a community here, a cycling community where people can share personal details and have a community that supports them and motivates them. So that's what I'm trying to do in this video. And basically, I just want to say in general, I wanted to share my experience, my journey. I think the biggest thing I've realized in summary is just I need to be somewhere that's sunny. I need to be somewhere that encourages riding, that encourages an active lifestyle. I can't be in the winter anymore because I've seen the detriment that it creates, and it's not something that I'm happy of or I'm proud of. So this video took a lot of me to actually be vulnerable and film this, but I know there's other people in the world that are either in my situation, that are going to be in my situation, and I want them to learn from me that, you know what, you got to figure out what's going to work, what's not going to work. I'm happy that racing's back. And looking back, I don't know, maybe if racing was still around back, in 2021 September, maybe things would have been different. Maybe if I didn't have the surgery, you can say all these hypotheticals, but I take ownership. I'm the reason why I got to this point, and I'm the reason why I'm going to get out of this and bounce back and hopefully get fitter than I ever was. So if you guys want to stay tuned for my journey, you know what to do. Subscribe, like. If you guys really want me to make future update videos, I might make one either once every week or once every 2 weeks, but I want to keep you guys along for the ride. So just comment down below. I don't know if this is going to serve a lot of people. Hopefully it does. And if it does, I'll keep making them. So with that being said, until the next one, keep on pedaling.